Alright, so I finished my 8-inch prop testing, and I'm glad to be done flying this loop because it's busy here in summer, and every day I see float planes and helicopters flying right through this flight path. This flight was my last one with some 2-blade 4.5 pitch master Airscrew props that seemed to be my most efficient. I may have cut some corners on the up path, mostly because I stayed low because of my paranoia with all the air traffic, but ultimately I still had the same elevation gain. At the peak, it was 200 milliamp hours less than my previous two best 4.5 pitch props, and at the end it was about that too. So maybe it wasn't much better if that up path saved some power, or maybe it was a little more efficient. The master air screws have a wide blade, and I noticed that they are the longest of all the props I've tested. They barely leave any space between my standoffs, so maybe that helps. Another set of props that was surprisingly efficient were some thin HQ 8x5 2-blades. They were on par with the previous best that were 2 and 3-blade 4.5s. I think I like the thin props because they spool up a little higher kV, which makes for steadier flying and landings. And my theory is that they will be a bit nicer for higher winds and for freestyle the way they cut through the air. I'd like to try those in a 3-blade if I could. The regular HQ 8x5 2-blades were actually really quite less efficient, maybe because they are heavier, it takes more power to spin them. They were the cheapest prop I tried. Then I tried these HQ 8x6x3s, and the first flight was pretty windy, and they used the same milliamp hours as this flight by the time I reached the peak, but that was with the wind, and upon landing they were like 600 more. But when I tried them on a calm day, they seemed to be using a lot more power, so I just turned around early. So ultimately, all of my testing has landed me basically back where I started, with the HQ 4.5 3-blades, since the 3-blades fly so much smoother. But I will continue to fly with these master air screws, and I'll experiment more with the thin HQ 8x5s to see how they feel. I'm dreaming of a winter trip to the Alps of Europe, and so I have to wonder if the thinner air of high altitude will lend itself to a higher pitched prop. Like, I can't help but wonder if those 8x6 3-blades might actually be a good choice when I'd be flying 5,000 to 10,000 feet higher in elevation. Please let me know if you have any insights about that, because it makes sense to me that a thinner air will have less resistance, and therefore a higher pitched prop can spin like a lower pitch would at a lower elevation. Or would my 4.5 or 5 pitch props just work with that much more efficiency? All glory to God for the safe flying and everything. I get more nervous flying mountains long range than I do climbing, snowboarding, or snowbiking them by far.